School of Astrology on how the birth chart reveals what we love. So you want to know how to figure out what someone loves or what type of present someone would appreciate most. You would like to find out what type of look and appearance someone appreciates if you want to appeal to them, right? Or you want to know what type of fashion or food someone loves, what type of personality your crush loves. All these kinds of questions. If any of this is for you, you're watching the right video. So here's the thing. You see what someone loves in the birth chart in two places. In Venus and in the fifth house. The fifth house tells us what we love and also speaks about lovers and affairs, if any. If you just have the birthday of someone and not the birth time as well, you can at least figure out the sign placement of Venus, and this is already telling you a lot. If you have the birth time in addition, that's great. Then you can also check the fifth house as we have it here, because the houses depend on the birth time. In the fifth house, we can see what someone loves and also lovers and affairs, if any. If you want to see what type of partner someone would have or choose, please make sure to also watch our video on love, relationship and marriage. This would lead too far in this video here. And there we also speak about lovers and affairs in more detail. We'll put the link in the description below. You will also find a video on how to read a birth chart on our channel. So let's go through the sign placements of Venus first. If you do the chart of someone and find a Venus in Aries, what is this going to tell you? Men and women with Venus in Aries love everything energetic, intense, quick. They love initiative, fresh ideas, and even something a bit wild. Aries Venus loves also spicy, hot food. Interestingly enough, the fashion taste of an Aries Venus is rather conservative, and they love clear-cut basic colors, no patterns. And if they take patterns, then they would choose very reduced ones like classic tartans or a classic Burberry. But you would not see them in any voluminous flower print, for instance, or abstract multicolored designs or neon colors or something. If you have someone with a Taurus Venus, these people love natural beauty, physical beauty, everything natural in general. They love nature, and within nature especially flowers, everything that blossoms and blooms. They love coziness, they love collecting things, and they love food in general. Typically nothing much fancy and delicately arranged with small portions, but rather generous portions and not exactly experimental cuisine or nothing really exotic. And they love earthly pleasures. A Taurus Venus loves everything that is steady and slower. They also love property and ownership, real value. Typically they also love fashion. And because they love value, they appreciate expensive fashion and would rather buy one expensive piece than 10 inexpensive ones. And in general, they love life. So here we have the Venus in Gemini, and if you find this placement, then these people love everything entertaining, funny, easy, everything flexible. Also in food, they love everything light. They love to talk and chat, they love to connect, they love language and expression, cleverness. A Gemini Venus is extremely curious and gathers lots of information, prefers more broad information than extreme depth, and so they would be more of a generalist than an extreme specialist. A Gemini Venus would also love to read and write, to travel and make contacts. Their fashion taste is a youthful look, lighter colors, lightweight fabric. A Cancer Venus is the typical cuddle person. These people love to hug others, kiss and touch all the time. They love togetherness, family, and belonging together for a long time. They don't let go. They are extremely caring and love a nice and cozy home. A Cancer Venus would love home cooking. And in terms of fashion taste, They would rather go for the flowery print, all colors of blue and green, and everything that reminds us of the river and everything flowing. Also, they love decoration and much of it. So if you see a house with lots and lots of decoration, placemats, figurines galore, you may be in the house of a Cancer Venus. And they also like everything feminine. The Leo Venus. The Leo Venus loves everything representative, generous, prestigious, expensive, and noble. They also love self-confidence and self-confident people. They love being recognized as generous and dignified. They love high-quality foods and noble high-street restaurants. Their fashion taste is also representative, looking like a boss. Leo is typically also in the preference of a very distinct hairstyle that you see also with the Leo rising a lot. They like big hair, like voluminous hairstyles, a lion's mane if you so will. Okay, up next is Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo prefers everything practical, useful, things with a function. They definitely prefer function over design. A Virgo Venus would appreciate everything helpful or helpful attitudes, everything that is structured and well organized. They love everything earthly and natural, and especially everything that has to do with harvest, fruit and vegetables. And while the Taurus Venus, for instance, would be into gardening with flowers, the Virgo Venus would be into gardening with the idea of harvesting fruit and vegetables. They also love everything done by hand and like all crafts. Food must be natural, no need for fancy, and they appreciate healthy diets. In terms of fashion taste, they would go for the practical and generally not worry too much about styling. The main priority for them is function over design also here. Quite a contrast to this, a Libra Venus wants to look put together, appreciates a neat and beautiful look, and make the best of what one has, bringing out the best and the most distinct look. Libra loves to eat what others love, and they would often order the same dish like the other one. Basically, they eat anything. They are not fixed on a particular taste, but of course they love if the dish is beautifully arranged. The Libra Venus loves divine beauty, harmony, culture, a diplomatic and peaceful attitude, tact, and everything aesthetic that looks beautiful. Then let's look at the Scorpio Venus. The Scorpio Venus loves everything passionate, intense, and dark. If you want the Scorpio Venus to look at you, wear more black. A Scorpio Venus loves passion and sex, everything dramatic, deeply felt and wild, likes intense feelings and dislikes everything surfaced or boring. They are also not exactly a fan of small talk. They also like a good fight and don't mind the passion of discussion on an interesting subject. In terms of food, they love exotic and spicy and prefer cooked meals over salads. Their fashion taste is into dark colors, everything contrasted, and also things that look attractive and sexy, dramatic styles and makeup. They very reduced with patterns, if any. Then we come to the Sagittarius Venus that loves everything with a thought behind it, everything that has a philosophy and idea to it. They would very much appreciate thoughtfully chosen presents that reveal the effort behind choosing it. And there's not about the effort of making a beautiful wrapping, but they are more about the effort that went into considering them and their personality when choosing the present. They also like everything inspired, everything idealistic, optimistic, maybe spiritual, moral, everything wise that reveals wisdom, and everything big. Also, everything international and worldwide would be a thing. A Sagittarius Venus likes to taste internationally diverse food and is interested in the different flavors of dishes from all over the world. When cooking, the Sagittarius Venus tends to cook too much. Their fashion taste is daring, and they are always willing to try things out, and they're not conservative at all. The Capricorn Venus, another contrast here to the previous sign, is certainly the most conservative in terms of taste. They appreciate a slim and trained or toned body shape and conservative looks without any patterns to it. They love endurance, discipline, goal orientation, tangible results, and very clear-cut things. A big thing for them is loyalty and faithfulness. They seriously despise infidelity as a serious character flaw. A Capricorn Venus doesn't eat much. They hate if they get big, that's why. They appreciate a slim appearance in themselves and in others, so they suffer badly if they get big. They do not appreciate emotional outbreaks because they consider them immature. They like a refined personality that is basically unbothered by outside events. The Aquarius Venus would in turn be into everything innovative, new, revolutionary even, everything modern, free, original, ingenious, crazy, witty, and inventive is good. The Aquarius Venus loves its freedom above all. And they also love change of scenery, something new all the time, and they get easily bored. They don't expect others to entertain them though. They will do it themselves. They will contribute to the entertainment and to the fun, and they will also turn their back on people and things they consider boring who don't join them in entertainment and in change, of course. They love to experiment and love everything that is different and out of the norm and everything extraordinary. They love experimental food and try out new things. This is also true for their fashion taste. It will be daring. Avant-garde may have been invented by an Aquarius Venus. All right, so we come to the Pisces Venus. Pisces Venus likes everything sensitive, romantic, magical, mystical. The Pisces Venus is known as a very loving and kind person with an angel-like love to other human beings. They are very sensitive and like the etheric. They also appreciate the altruistic and helpful. Their fashion taste is everything flowing and blue, green and watery. A mermaid or a nymph could be the idol here. And also with the food, they tend to eat lighter food. Okay, now we're done with the Venus in the signs. Also, if you have the birth time, you can find out in which house Venus is placed, and this will add another dimension to your interpretation. So you have the interpretation of Venus in the sign that we just went through, and to this you would add now the meaning of the house that Venus is placed in. Okay, so let's have a quick run through. Again, please refer to the downloads below for more details on the houses. Okay, Venus in 1 for short is you love yourself, and it often stands also for physical beauty because the first house stands for the body of the person we analyze. Then Venus in 2 would represent a love for values and also for money, and often these people also have and acquire wealth. Venus in 3 would love communication and connection. Venus in 4 would love their home and their family. Venus in 5 would love to play and love to love, and generally have a love for children typically. Venus in house number 6 would love to help, would love their colleagues and peers. Venus in 7 would love their partner and generally typically love others. They love people. Venus in house number 8 would love transformation and sex. And it's not that the others don't love sex. With Venus in 8, it seems to be more and pronounced. Venus in house number 9 would love philosophy, spirituality, fairness, foreign countries, world travel, and so on. All the Sagittarius themes and 9th house themes. Venus in number 10 loves their career and seeks to look good in public. Women with a Venus in 10 are often remembered for their beauty or beautiful appearance. Venus in the 11th house loves their friends and one's own children and all kinds of associations. So like civil society associations, and they would engage there. Venus in 12 loves everything secret, and typically what we love can be hidden. With any planet in the 12th house, by the way, we would advise you to always check the houses that this planet rules, the house or the houses. Some rule too, like Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Because it seems that this house, the theme of this house, will be hidden away, unknown, or not appear in public, and you may want to know what this is. Now we want to look at the 5th house and for what we love in the 5th house. More on lovers and affairs is in our video on love and relationships that we link below. As for the 5th house, let's go through some examples so you see the things that you will want to check. So here's our checklist. And the 5th house stands for what we love, point number 1. Second, we look at the sign ruling the house. So here we find, with George Clooney, with our first example, we find the 5th house starts in Cancer. And for all the other signs, you can download the desk reference that we link below so you can work on your own chart or the charts of the people you want to analyze to learn more about this. So now we have Cancer in the 5th house. That means George Clooney loves togetherness and belonging. If you have the birth time, like here, we can also find the planets in the house. Here we have a Mars in Leo in the 5th house. This would mean that firstly George appreciates a noble and generous type of decision making, as Mars will tell us about the decision making qualities. And Mars also tells us how the person at hand thinks how a man should be. And with Mars in Leo, George definitely appreciates elegant men with good natural self-esteem. Next, under rule number 4, we find the ruler of the 5th house, which is Moon. And by the way, no need for you to know all the rulers of the signs by heart. We put the desk reference for you in the description below to download. So Cancer is ruled by the Moon, and we have the Moon in Capricorn here in the 11th house. So George Clooney likes to be together, as per the interpretation of Cancer, with his friends, as per the interpretation of 11. And since quite recently, he also likes to be together with his children. They are also represented in the 11th house. The Moon in Capricorn would tell us, as in addition, that for him, friends don't need to be overly emotional. They just need to be there, and he will be there for them. So it's very much about loyalty there. And a Capricorn Moon is not overly emotional, but extremely faithful. And he expects this quality also of others, and here of his friends. Now we next want to apply what we learned about Venus in the sign. And here we find an Aries Venus in the 1st house. So we figure he likes everything energetic, intense, proactive, and quick. This Venus also rules the 8th house because it is the Libra house. So this interpretation will also apply to his sexuality. Venus also rules the 3rd house because it rules Taurus. And so our interpretation will also apply to his expression and language. He will certainly not be into blah blah, but to the point. And now if you have the birth time, like here, you also get the house placement. Here we see Venus in the 1st house. This means this person loves himself. And since the 1st house also represents the physical body of a person, Venus in the 1st house is also typically associated with physical beauty. Then you may also want to check the aspects to get a rounded picture. Here we have a trine to Lilith and a quincunx to Neptune. Without going into much detail, this just adds a little mystery to what he loves. For more on aspects, we have a desk reference for you to download in the description below. What we want you to check with the aspects is whether there are any aspects that could change the nature of Venus here. This could be an opposition, square or conjunct with mainly Saturn and Uranus. Tangent aspects with Saturn typically depreciate what Venus loves, and we will see a typical example a little later in this video. And the good news is that with Saturn we can take it into our own hands to relieve the depreciation that goes on here. Uranus in a tangent aspect often creates chaos and sudden surprising and abrupt influences. It can be that others or we ourselves abruptly disturb the peace of the Venus and take away what she loves. A typical so-called divorce aspect would be Uranus square Venus. This would typically indicate a flash temper, and it would tend to abruptly end relationships. If we know about such a condition, we can choose to live with it and apply discipline if we prefer to keep what and who we love. So here in this chart we find nothing like that, so our interpretation isn't changed by a tangent aspect. Next example is Oprah Winfrey. Her Venus in Aquarius in the second house would indicate a love for freedom, modernity and innovation. And from Aquarius, this would also be paired with a love for good value and property through the influence of the second house here, where Venus is placed. Then we see our Venus rules house number 5, because 5 starts in Taurus. We would interpret this as she loves love. Venus also rules the 10th house because it starts in Libra, so her career would be about divine love, fairness and consideration, the values of Libra. And since the ruler of houses 5 for love and 10 for career, Venus, is placed in the second house, we can also say this is where she lives her life and career. Combined with the meaning of the second house, we can see she makes earthly love of Taurus and the divine love of Libra tangible in the second house, where things materialize. And here they materialize in an Aquarius way, and this is a very open-minded, free way. Somehow these very few details already really well describe Oprah here. Now we want to show you an example with a tangent aspect. Here we have Johnny Depp with a Venus in Taurus in the 10th house. So Venus in Taurus loves physical beauty for short. In men, you also see what type of woman they love, and here this would be a love for physically beautiful women. And as is widely known, he's also able to attract women of great physical beauty. But now, here we have a Saturn in square to this Venus. And if you followed a little bit of his biography, you also know that he has a series of broken marriages and relationships. Wherever Saturn appears, we are very demanding and have extremely high expectations. And here Saturn is in house number 7. So there is where his expectations will be high. Too high to be met by a physical person, a real human. Also, the other person may have different ideas of perfection, of course. And so this is a difficult placement. This is what we wanted to show you, in which way an aspect can change the interpretation and the outcomes in a life. We don't do the rest of the entire analysis here, as this will take too long, but you have seen it now and know how to do it from the previous example. We'd rather do 2 more sample charts. So what did Steve Jobs love? Also quite an exceptional personality, so let's figure this out. Here we see Venus in Capricorn in the 4th house. So we interpret what he loves for Venus combined with Capricorn, which is a love for precision, concentration, toughness, science, sticking things out until they work. And in the 4th house, the Capricorn Venus would love a reduced and elegant style, would love their own home without much decoration, if any. In terms of aspects, we see here an opposition to Jupiter and Uranus. Uranus would be for inventions and innovation in combination with Jupiter. That would be much. So much of it because Jupiter increases everything that he touches. And both in a tangent aspect of an opposition to this Venus in Capricorn would be that he is trying and sticking the innovation out until it works. The sextile to Saturn that we also see here would bring support, and so Saturn's ability to concentrate would be added favorably here. So you see there is a great difference between a favorable aspect of Saturn, like we have it here with Steve Jobs, and an unfavorable one, like with Johnny Depp. Sextile and trine would be favorable, square and opposition would be tension, and the conjunct would be the addition of qualities. So depending on the combination of qualities, this can be very harmonious or explosive, depends what you put in. And there is also, of course, a desk reference for you to download for free in the description. Then we still check his 5th house, and there we see it's ruled by Capricorn, and this now doubles down on what we said about Venus in Capricorn already for him. Okay, so we leave the interpretation here in order not to make it too long, and try one more sample chart. We got one more here for you, and Rihanna has her Venus on the rising in Aries. We've already said that a Venus in the 1st house indicates physical beauty, and her Venus is within 3 degrees of the rising, and therefore in conjunct with the rising, and so belongs to the 1st house. And quite obviously, Rihanna is of great physical beauty. Venus in Aries would also give her a temper and a love for everything intense. Her Venus also rules the 2nd house, her values and property. And Venus, as the ruler of her property in the 1st house, means that she is the property herself. She represents the value. She creates the value in her life. And with Rihanna, we know that this value is high. She herself created this value and she recreates it every day. Then we check her 5th house and see that this starts in Leo, so she loves generosity and prestige for short. There would be a lot more to interpret here, of course, but just for quick, we would check if there are any aspects that would change our findings so far, and there are no detrimental and tensioned aspects. As we mentioned before, they can't be found here, so we can take our interpretation as is. Right, that's it. We would be interested to hear what you love and how you found this confirmed in your birth chart. Please comment if you have questions. We hope you find useful content on this channel and in this video and appreciate your feedback. Thanks for your comments. Please also comment what interests you. We will try to cater to the most requested themes first. For our upcoming live stream readings, please comment if you want your chart featured and add a field of interest from this video. No need to post your birth date, time and place at this moment. We'll ask you in private, no worries. Please subscribe to stay updated with free content every Sunday. And remember to activate notifications to be informed about new content. Thank you for your interest and see you again soon on this channel.